This is a tough one. This is a tough one. It's a dark time here at Ka-Pow, which is, oh Lord help me. Which is why our intro has no color, has no sound. There'll be no call to actions, like none of that stuff. This is not about subscriptions. This isn't not about follows. This is not even a video that needs to be liked. I know there's no getting around the algorithm, but I don't want to do nothing to even allude to the fact that this is an attempt to prop up our platform or to get views, because this is just too tragic. We lost one of our students. A gentle young man. Kind. Huge heart and passionate about learning the comic craft. And so I'll go into the story in a little bit. I didn't expect this. We are feeling it hard here at Ka-Pow, the students, the staff, my family. We're feeling this one hard. No one prepares you for something like this when you start an endeavor such as this. There are no YouTube videos. There aren't any membership sites to teach you how to navigate this stuff. This is not supposed to happen. This is comic books. This is art. This is storytelling. This is helping people achieve their creative dreams. That's what this is. This is geek stuff. But when you start something like this that is built upon connecting people, not just teaching skills, but actually investing in people, I guess this will be the video that teaches that this is on the other side of it. This is the risk that you run. This is the risk that you run. So, we just lost Stefon Cromwell, a second-year student here at Ka-Pow. And Stefon was a unique soul. A unique soul. I believe that people like Stefon are the ones that truly need protecting and preserving, because there's so few people like that in the world. So few people like that in the world. I'm doing this video with the permission of the family in hopes to raise awareness for their GoFundMe. Already, people are responding and giving generously to help support this family, not just in this tragedy, but in another tragedy that they experienced that is profound within the last 3 weeks. Two in the last 3 weeks. And so I'm asking you guys, if you watch this, to share it. Again, I don't care about likes. I don't care about subscriptions. Not on this video. Go subscribe to another video if you want to do that. Go like another video in proxy of this one if that's what you want to do. But this one, I just want this shared. I want people to know who this young man was and that he's going to be sorely, sorely missed. Not just by his nuclear family, but by his extended Ka-Pow family. You know, at Ka-Pow, we really tried to drive home that familial element, because what's the point if you don't, right? We want these connections to last beyond the actual service. It's about people, and Stefon was one of those people that mattered to us. He mattered to me. He was one of the early adopters of Ka-Pow. I met Stefon at Capital City Comic Con in Lansing, Michigan. It was the second year of Ka-Pow, and I'm still trying to figure things out. They stuck me in the corner. They stuck baby in the corner, and still he found us. He found us, and he waited. I remember the interaction as if it were yesterday. He waited so patiently just to interact with me one-on-one. And, I'm a one-man show sometimes at these shows. Not so much now as we're growing, but then it was just me and the table. And whoever came up, I always try to give 100% of my attention to whomever is in front of me at that time. And he waited so patiently. He didn't walk away. He just let me know that I'm here for it and I really want to talk to you. And after about 5 or 10 minutes, I kept apologizing, but he was so happy and excited to find out about us, and we talked, and he told me what he wanted to do, and he didn't want to waste my time. And I'm like, no, you're the most important person in the world to me right now. And I brought that over from law enforcement. That's how I approach every singular interaction in that moment. And I didn't expect anything else, but that young man, he followed up immediately. He scheduled his appointment, and I was like, okay. And he just flew through the process because he wanted it. He was so eager. But what I noticed about him from the onset is that he seemed so gentle, almost to the point of being fragile. And I knew this was somebody that needed TLC. This is somebody that needed TLC. So I'm going to share with you his testimonial video, but this entire video is a testament to Stefon, not to Ka-Pow. I wanted to honor him in whatever way that I could. And, the testimonial video seemed oddly appropriate, only because everything else that I have of him in video format, because the family asked me if I had videos and stuff. I'm like, yeah, every class is recorded, but I wanted something a little bit more him, right? And what I have of him is our one-on-one interaction, and I was, so my point today is twofold of doing this video and sharing it with you guys. Number one, I want you to know who he was. I want you to know who he was and feel his spirit, hopefully, through this recording. Feel his spirit. And hopefully you'll get a small glimpse of what the family must be going through right now. Because he's not the only tragedy in the past 3 weeks, as I said earlier. We'll get into that soon. And again, I'm sharing this with consent of the family. So let me back up. So my point in doing this, I'm all over the place. So bear with me. Bear with me, okay? Normally my thoughts are a lot more fluid. But this is this is where we are right now. And so my purpose for sharing this testimonial video is to honor him, not Ka-Pow, as I said earlier. But I want to do this also because I wanted to get it out of the way. Because I want to delete it from my computer. I want to have it out there so the family can have access to it, so they can hopefully in gentler times look back and remember him, in his element with his tribe. Because we were definitely part of his tribe. He found tribe when he found Ka-Pow. And so, but I ask all the students at Ka-Pow after they've experienced us for usually at least a year, maybe a term, depending on how they're tracking. I ask them if they wouldn't mind meeting with me to answer some questions for promotional purposes, to let people know, and so they can share and let others know their experience here at Ka-Pow. And so Steph graciously agreed. All the students agreed. It's not forced. It's just asked. It's requested. And Steph agreed. And so if you've been watching this channel, I release them periodically, so as not to come off as just, heavily promoting the school, just, seasoning, reminding you guys, how other people are experiencing us. And so I don't have any real system for it or formula. It's just as they come to me, I'll release one. And knowing that Steph's was in my library at this time kind of forced action prematurely, because I knew that if I came across it at a later date, that it was going to knock me backwards. And so if there's selfishness in this move, it's in that I wanted to get it out the way so that in the future, people can revisit it at their leisure. But if I revisit it, when I revisit it, I'll be prepared for it and not just come across it as I'm scrolling for content to post here. So how I found out about 2 weeks ago, Stefon had notified me on our private social platform that he was taking some time away from Ka-Pow to help support his family during a recent tragedy. They lost his nephew at 14. He passed away. And Stefon he was always so accountable. He would check in to see how he was tracking, get on my calendar just to touch bases with me personally, let me know where he was in work and his goals and his accomplishments, and not being a bugaboo. My door was always open to the students, but he used his time wisely and would jump on, and we reconnect intermittently. And, it was always a joy. I told Stefon, you're one of my favorite people. I hope you really understand that and the significance of it. And he just laughed. I said, no, Stefon, I'm serious. You are one of my favorite people. I said, there's just something about you, and so he'd asked if it was okay if he took a hiatus. And that's one of the things that we have already implemented in our structure to account for life happening, And so I was like, sure, let me know when you're coming back, and we'll bring you back up to speed. And so fast forward, I meet with our head instructor, Brian Atkins, and we're talking about Steph. We're talking about Stefon because Stefon he was wrestling with some other things as well that I won't mention here, but they affected his fine motor control. And even when he revealed that to me, I felt so blessed and honored that he confided that. Because I can be a little hard. I can be a heavy. And, but that's part of the accountability part. Right. And, but he wanted me to know that it wasn't for lack of effort or for trying. He wanted to make sure that when I was assessing him, I had all the information I need to assess correctly, me and the instructors. And I appreciated the courage in that and the accountability. And so we were just talking, we would check in regularly, specifically on Stefon because, again, he held a special place in my heart, and we had a mutual love for animation and anime. And when he found out I was an animator, and that I animated the intro, he was done. He was all in, and that I could help, guide him down his path specifically as it applied to animation, as that's what he wanted to do. And so, the creative connection was there as well. And so he was kind of like a special case for me. I always wanted to see how Stefon progressing, what's going on with him. And so anyway, we had just talked about Stefon maybe a week ago. Now fast forward another week, the day before yesterday to be precise, at the time of this recording. It was 2 days ago. I'm here where I am right now in the office. And I see a notification on Facebook Messenger. And apologies for you all who follow us on Facebook. I'm not nearly as active on there as I should be. But maybe we can change that as well. YouTube is getting my primary focus as of now. But I got a Facebook Messenger post from someone I did not recognize. And you immediately think that it's spam. If you guys are on Facebook, you know those bots and those scammers and spammers, they are abundant, especially on Facebook for some reason. And so I looked at it, and it was so short that I thought it was a scam. And it basically read, "I am Stefon's sister. I know that he was in your school. I regret to inform you that Stefon has passed away." And I felt my heart sink, but not too deep, because people out here can be toxic, and we know that. Folks can be so toxic. And so to test the legitimacy of it, I said, call me at this number, which is our company number. And so the phone, a few minutes later, the phone buzzes, and it's another Facebook message. And it says, "I tried to call, but it went straight to voicemail." And that's when my heart really began to sink, because it does go straight to voicemail. Intentionally so. And then I recognize the area code of the number that called. And it was an area code that I was very familiar with, because my kids went to college there, and I actually was the president of a professional basketball team there. So I immediately called it back, and the most gentle voice came on the line. So kind. She was so kind. And she told me what happened, that he passed in his sleep. And what was ironic was this amazing young lady who cannot be any older than maybe my oldest kid, maybe if she's that old. The sister who had just lost her son, now had lost her brother, was comforting me. And I'm like, "Are you serious right now?" I'm like, "Are you serious right now?" I'm like, "No, don't do that, please." I told her, "My pain is nothing compared to yours. Don't. And she was worried about me, which is a testament to this family and the consistent thread that must run through them. I cannot wait to meet them. Regrettably under these circumstances, but I will be at the services next week. And so she was trying to comfort me, and I'm like, "Are you serious right now? Is this really happening?" And she told me how Steph loved the school and how he spoke of me, and I had no clue, quite honestly. You never know how people relate to you or how people touch you. And on the flip side of that, I don't know if he realized how much he mattered to me. How much each of our students matters to me. They matter not because of the revenue that they bring, but because I really do value them as people, and the fact that they are trusting us to fulfill on a promise that really matters to them. I don't take that lightly. So, and neither do my instructors. We don't take it lightly. And so when she said that to me, I felt small. I felt small because I'm supposed to be comforting her. It was her brother and her son. So that brings us here. I asked for permission to share the testimonial video with you guys. And I left it completely up to the family, whether or not I shared or not. And like, I won't. If you don't want it up, I won't do it. I'll send you all the video and we'll be done with it. And she was like, no, please. The family gives their consent. And so I wanted to take it a step further. I saw that they had a GoFundMe, and, we are a small school and our resources are tight. But I wanted to do something. I'm not a rich man. I wanted to do something. And so, this is part of that something. And also I created an ad campaign to run, and by the grace of God, people are responding. And so I'll leave a description here, in the description of this video for the GoFundMe. And I'll probably create a graphic that will appear periodically, since I'm this far into the video and haven't mentioned it. Because that's the whole point, is to help support the family. They have expenses. They've had 2 major tragedies in less than a month. Significant. Both gone far too soon. 14 and 29. Here's the crazy thing. I've been around death so much in law enforcement. So much. You would think working almost 30 years in arguably one of the most violent cities in the world, that you'd have a level of resistance to it, because you have to disconnect from it in law enforcement. You have to. That's how you preserve your sanity, right? I've seen it all: babies and mothers and sons and daughters, putting them in body bags, crime tape. I've seen it all. And you have to kind of create distance so that it doesn't impede your performance, and you can't take it home with you. And so you kind of think that you can handle it, especially when someone is not in your immediate circle. Steph was not in my immediate circle. None of my students are. They're not my immediate family. It's family-like if we're being completely pragmatic about it. But when you invest in people, when you intentionally connect, I don't think we realize how deep those threads run. This woman is comforting me, and I'm some dude she's never met in a city far away that her brother is paying to teach. And she's comforting me because she heard the pain in my voice. That is crazy to me. That is so crazy to me. So this is a testimonial video, but I'm going to testify to a good person, one of those rare souls that the world, not just Ka-Pow, the world is worse off now that he's gone. And so here's my interview with Stefon.
All right, Steph. So, how was your art life before Ka-Pow?
Before Ka-Pow, I was jumping from art school to art school, and I was trying really, really hard to figure out the basics in a lot of things. I think other schools were a little bit more, they ran a little faster with like their programs, and it was always about like getting to the finish line. Unlike Ka-Pow, where we really want to like learn and get in deeper and make sure you're getting those fundamentals and basics down right away.
I love it. Where or when did you first start looking into comic art and visual storytelling?
So I've always been interested in visual storytelling, like ever since I was a child. I think it wasn't until my teenage years where I really realized I could make a career out of it, and that's what I wanted to do as a career. And it's just like basically just chasing after those influences and things that I've always just loved all my life, all those anime, cartoons, comics, like just all of it.
I love it. How did you discover us?
I met you, Dr. Solo, at a Grand Rapids Comic Con, where you told me a lot of great things about your school, and it made me look into it and investigate it more and decide that it was the right thing for me at the time.
Pounding the pavement. So what stood out to you about Ka-Pow?
I think what stood out to me about Ka-Pow was basically the flexibility of it for me. Just because one of the hardest things with trying to go back to art school is not only funding it and being able to afford it, but also being able to work it around my schedule and also make it so I wouldn't have to do a big move or relocation on top of that.
All right. Love it. What hesitation, if any, did you have about Ka-Pow at the beginning?
The only real hesitations I had at the beginning were just, it is a bit of a smaller thing. So, just not having too much information or not being able to get a lot of reference from other people on how it would actually work out for me or if it was going to be the right fit for me. But, it was a leap of faith, but in a good way. It was a good leap of faith to just try it just to see what happens. And the results were good and what I wanted.
Love it. Thank you. All right. So what convinced you that Ka-Pow was the school for you?
I think what convinced me was just the personality from all the staff, the teachers, from you. You all just had a very good, genuine demeanor, and it made me feel like you guys actually really do care if I'm getting the stuff, if I'm really learning, and if I'm gonna reach the goals that I'm setting for myself. You genuinely care. You don't want to just give me a grade and then pass me off to the next person.
Outstanding. Why did you choose us over other learning options such as traditional learning institutions, YouTube, self-paced videos, etc.?
Well, I chose you guys because I think one thing I've needed for a very long time as an artist is guidance. Lots of people say that nowadays you can learn everything on the internet, you can be self-taught, and you can get far. But for me, I needed a little bit of extra guidance and a little bit more of a push. Just somebody there who can kind of walk me through what I'm doing, but also hold me accountable when I'm not making progress in certain areas, or who can tell me where I need to go or what direction I need.
Outstanding. What do you love most about Ka-Pow?
I think what I love most about Ka-Pow is just the community aspect of it. We have our own little thing on Heartbeat where we can just post and comment on each other's work and always give each other's feedback. I just love that, we have our own kind of tiny little family here of artists, and we all just come from different places and backgrounds, but we all come together for that one thing as a whole. I think that's very inspiring and cool, and it's a lot more tighter than it would be at other places just because it's such a small group, and I like that.
Great. Name 3 benefits or improvements you've experienced since joining us here at Ka-Pow.
Okay. The first one would definitely be my understanding of fundamental things like anatomy, coloring, lighting. It's improved so much, way more than it did when I was just taking regular art classes. Another thing I would say is definitely the discipline aspect. That's helped me out a lot. The past few years, ever since the pandemic hit, I definitely got very stagnant as an artist, but I think going to Ka-Pow has helped me come back a little from that and kind of not only come back, but come back stronger than I was before from that. And that was the push I need. And the third benefit I would say is just, I feel I'm a lot kinder to myself as an artist too. Before it was just I don't know what I'm doing. I can't do this. I can't do that. But now I've taken that and I've turned that into determination to just want to succeed and do better for myself as an artist and continue to keep growing and pushing.
That's beautiful. Why would you recommend Ka-Pow to someone who may be on the fence?
I would recommend Ka-Pow to somebody who may be on the fence because I think if you've been searching for options, or if you haven't had any luck with other alternatives, or if you didn't want to pay for a high costing art school or anything like that, I think this is a good place to, at the minimum, at least get your feet wet and see if you really want to be an artist. If you have what it takes to do those kind of things and just go forward with that dream.
Outstanding. Outstanding. If you were to recommend us to your best friend, what would you say?
I would tell them if they love comics, if they love making art, if they love great teachers and supportive staff, this is definitely the school for you, and you won't have to pay as much as you would at other institutions to accomplish and gain those things.
Beautiful. Thank you. What surprised you the most or made you the happiest about joining Ka-Pow?
Okay, so this might not be a surprise to other people, but for me, I guess the surprise for me was seeing like how much I could grow. Because I wasn't expecting like the growth to go like as far as it did for me, at least at the end of my first year. So to me, that was very surprising to just see like, wow, I can do all of these things that I never thought I could.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now that you've experienced Ka-Pow firsthand, what does your creative and artistic future look like?
Now that I've experienced Ka-Pow firsthand, I'm a lot more hopeful than I was before as an artist. Because honestly, before I really didn't know where I was going. I didn't know how I was going to get there. But at the very least, now I know I have some skills. And I can definitely like back that up, and I can feel more confident looking and taking art jobs in the future. Ka-Pow is the real art school for real people with real lives like me.
Wow. Thank you so much, Steph. That is outstanding.
Thank
you so much.
Now, this next part, before we let out of here, this was after we were recording. I always like to, every student, I like to talk to them. I just want, they don't see me every day. I'm the director. I'm out in the art streets doing this and setting up shows and meeting with strategic partners and trying to bring brand awareness and drawing. I'm doing all the other things. And so they're in with my trusted team of professional instructors every day. And so they only see me if I pop into class, which I'm likely to do, just to say hey occasionally, so as not to intrude on the instructor's space, or assemblies, or their end of term reviews. That's usually when they see me, or when they really want to get on my calendar just to kind of connect and talk, or they have something they want to share with me. And so what blessed me as we get ready to watch this next part, this last part, is the family asked me to eulogize him. I was so humbled and so honored. They know that I'm a licensed and ordained minister of the faith, and whatever Steph may have told them about me in the school, or how the sister, whatever she picked up on the phone, so unexpected. But absolutely, I am honored to be able to speak to this young man in my experience with him in the short time that I've known him. So this next part is the after interview. We're here and I just talking. It's not long, it's short. But again, this is a tribute and a testimony of Stefon.
But it's because of students like you is why we do what we do. This is the whole point. This is the whole point. It's not a money grab. It's not, it's not, ooh, let's figure out something to look important in today's social era. It really is about people like you that have real dreams and real goals, and in dealing with all the cares of life, that what life throws, work and bills, but still have this desire to grow in something that they're passionate about. This is why we did it. This is why I built it. And so your answers really bless me to my core.
Oh, thank you.
And I thank you for that. You've given me such a profound gift today.
Oh, thank you. Well, you asked me easy questions, so
uncoached, unprepared. You know what I mean? And your answers were genuine and heartfelt, man. And hopefully we can get more students like you. You're doing the work, and once you're a student here, as long as you finish, you're forever family. And so thank you for sticking it out, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sticking it out with me.
That's what we do, man. All right. Thank you so much. Have a good day, man.
Yeah, you too. See you.
All right, bye. All right, bye.
So hopefully now you have somewhat of a glimpse and, an idea of who this young man was that graced us here at Ka-Pow and graced this earth. We thank God for sending him here. I don't pretend to understand the whys. That's where faith comes in. That's where my faith kicks in. I'm hoping the family is pleased with this tribute. I will see you soon, and thank you so much for offering me the opportunity to share my affection and the affection of us here at Ka-Pow with your loved ones. And we hold you in our prayers for both Malachi and Steph. We pray that God's grace and mercy and peace fall upon you in this time. And okay, all right, that was a lot. So took a little break, went and had lunch with my son, and wanted to finish up strong. As I was saying, Steph, if you can hear this, thank you for trusting us with something so important to you and precious as your creative pursuits. Hopefully, we didn't disappoint. And on that note, we're going to call this done. Just to be clear, I'm not beyond emotion, but by nature of my lifelong career and my experiences, I've come to appreciate when it's okay to emote, and I'm not one for all this extra stuff on public platforms like this. I'm not a fan of it. Which is why I cut that last part out, as well as put the graphic before, earlier in the video. Not that I'm afraid to show my emotion, but I don't want to draw any attention to myself in this, because this is not about me. This is about the Cromwell family, about the 2 losses they had. So please support their GoFundMe. Help them in this time of profound need as best you can. Every little bit helps. Their goal is not that extensive, and I believe that as a community, the comic art family, I've seen it. My head instructor Brian Atkins, when he first started working here at Ka-Pow, he and another artist friend of his, who's now a professional inker in the mainstream, they had all their stuff stolen at in a con, I believe, in Missouri, stolen out of their car, and they put out a social media post, and they don't have huge platforms by any stretch of the imagination, and they put out a social media post, and the comic community, the fans, professionals, the comic fam, they showed up, and they gave these guys supplies. I mean, these thieves took their banners, all their supplies, their paper, and so they had a killer show regardless. And that just showed me, I know I've contributed to other artists that I did not know and families that were part of the community. It's just something about this community that it's one of the things I love about it, right? And hopefully we show up this time for this family, for this young aspiring artist that was just starting his most recent lap into doing something significant with his passion, just cut short, as well as, his sister losing her son, losing Malachi, 14 years old. Let's help them as best we can. And so again, not looking for likes, not looking for follows, not looking for subscribers. That's great. I know the algorithm is going to be what it is. But if you can share this and show support, that's all we're asking for. Let's help this family. And I'm going to be heading out of town. They have blessed me. They have truly blessed me and honored me with the opportunity to eulogize Stefon. And we're going to show up and we're going to show them what the comic fam does and the part of the community that Stefon was loved and appreciated in. So on that note, remember, as I always say here, and hopefully this drives home what I say, because I don't say it. It's not a catchy saying for the end of my videos. Don't need more catchy sayings. But in closing, life is short. So live, love, and laugh as if it's your last day on earth, knowing that when all is said and done, all that will ever be remembered of you is the life you've lived, the lives you've touched, and the stories you've created. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get to it. I see you guys on the mean art streets. Talk to you later. Solo.